Access to Democracy and other BECT programming is supported by West, a Thomson Reuters business. Westlaw books and online tools serve the professionals in America and around the world. West is proud to support Minnesota employees, their families, and their communities since 1872. U.S. Federal Credit Union, a not-for-profit financial cooperative serving the greater Twin Cities community with new branches in Shakopee, Lakeville, Brooklyn Center, and Brooklyn Park. Waldelin Jewelry and Gifts, a local independent jeweler serving the community with custom designs and repairs since 1976.
And welcome to Access to Democracy. Rick King has become a familiar face on this show. Executive Vice President and COO of Thomson Reuters, North American Legal. He's appeared in that capacity. He has appeared in connection with the ultra-high band task force, broadband task force. Recently, he interviewed me. He's sort of a jack of all trades and master of many, apparently.
You think? It's good to be back, Alan.
And it's good to have you back. Now, the governor appointed you as chair of the Minnesota Ultra-High Band Technology Task Force. Exactly what are we talking about?
Well, indeed, the governor did. He appointed over 20 people from various parts of the state, both rural and metro, to serve on a task force. And I think the legislature, in terms of the bill, and the governor, in terms of appointing people, did a great job in looking at the diversity of opinions in Minnesota. So first off, I just say we have people from education, higher ed, K through 12. We've got people from some of the unions that are impacted by this. We have people in library systems, people in businesses, home users, healthcare users, telco providers, et cetera. So we've got a very broad, diverse group. And the objective is, what does Minnesota need to look like in terms of its high-speed, ultra-high-speed, as we call it, broadband infrastructure by 2015? What kind of capacity do we need to have? What kind of reach throughout the state do we need to have? These are the things that need to be studied. How do we fund it? How do we roll it out? How do we foster public-private partnerships? So the bill, which the governor signed into law, calls for us to report by November of 2009 on all these aspects. And the goal is then to give the governor and the legislative leaders an actionable report that we could implement to ensure Minnesota is one of the top states in the U.S. and maintains its competitive advantage elsewhere as well.
And what's the advantage for us to be one of the top states in the United States, and or with many other countries competing, as we know, in high-speed broadband?
Well, I'm going to make two particular arguments about that. One argument will be around the economic development aspect of this, and the second one's just going to talk about base infrastructure for our country, for our state. The notion around the economic development. There's studies that have been done throughout the world and throughout the U.S. that show areas that are penetrated with ultra-high-speed broadband, and I'm going to tell you why I say the word ultra and why that appears in the legislation versus not appearing. But people that have that, areas that have higher paying jobs, have better economically developed jobs. They have better property values, and thus they have a better tax base. They attract new industry, and they're able to keep new industry and grow jobs. So all of the economic development directors in the cities and the counties around are particularly interested in the economic aspects of this. Of course, that drives, tax receipts drive good schools, libraries, and all kinds of services, including cultural services. So if we can make and keep and build a high-tech magnet in our state, continue to do that, we'll continue to attract the new wave of high-tech, so that we always have Fortune 500 companies here that are headquartered here and that want to stay here because we have that economic stimulus underneath. So,
and of course, I know that you have been interested in technology for years, And as the COO of Thomson Reuters, one of the leading, if not the leading provider of certainly legal information and business information in the world now, that this should be a natural concomitant for you. And I guess that's how the governor selected you after the bill was worked its way through the legislature.
That's right. I mean, I think the company interest goes right along with what I said. We have almost 7,000 employees in our Eagan facility, so we want to attract families to come to our area to work for our business, and they want to work for a state-of-the-art company that uses state-of-the-art technology. We need those kind of broadband connections, ultra-high-speed broadband connections between our employees at work and our employees at home, so that people that work for us can do their work at home, can have alternating work times to start and stop, and that they can work from home. They can use the same tools that they use at work at home, and it takes a large amount of bandwidth. Our internal network would be classified as a 10 gigabit network, and today normal broadband as defined by the Federal Communications Commission is 784 KB. So that is factors of thousands in difference in terms of speed. When we put the word ultra in front of broadband, we were trying to one-up the FCC and say broadband at 784 or 765 KB is not where it's at. You cannot stop there. We need to go to at least 100 megabit. And that gets you to the point where at home you can run some of the applications that you can do from work.
Now, I was speaking to somebody recently from outstate, and they said, how are they going to drag these wires all over the state? And I said, it's a little bit more sophisticated than that, but we're going to see that they get a copy of this program.
Absolutely. Well, we want to get to every corner of the state, and what you want to do, the fastest possible transmission technology is fiber. There's nothing faster than the speed of light, and the little communications material that you send goes fastest when it's transmitted through a fiber optic speed of light capability. So what we need to do is be able to have the long haul all around the state and all around the US be fiber. And then you can govern the speed by the kind of hardware you put on each end of the fiber. And then maybe when you get to a lake, you put up a tower that allows for wireless access from that point, and they can get it to some of the homes around the lake, because things get pretty sparse and you can't just run the fiber directly to the home. In the metro area, you can usually go right into neighborhoods with fiber, and economically that will have a payoff. But what we want to do is encourage people to use the state-of-the-art technology. And physics says there's nothing faster than the speed of light. So therefore, when you put in fiber, you're making a long-term investment that's going to keep paying off. All you have to do is change the hardware, and you get faster and faster speeds.
Now, people have Comcast or other providers in their home. They have gone into the cities and laid fiber in the streets. Would that fiber be available, or is this a whole new procedure?
No, I think that fiber could be available. Now, each of them, Comcast, Quest, and others, are laying their own private network fibers into many of the cities. In the city of Eagan, there are build-outs going on right now. Eagan would be a demographic that would be very interesting to both of those companies and many others. So they're willing to build out there, whereas if you go to Virginia, it may not be as interesting in terms of an economic return. But what they're each doing is laying fiber networks alongside of each other. What could be a possibility if we can get the right kind of partnership together is, why can't we have one network that all of the providers can run their content through or their services through? And this causes an issue. Basically, a provider has to think about whether they provide infrastructure, that is, put the fiber in the ground, or whether they actually care about providing services over the fiber.